Hello world, welcome back to Razor RC. It's time to talk about the brand new Arrma Kraton 8S that just got announced yesterday. In case you've been living under a rock for the last 24 hours, Arrma just came out with an all new 5th scale big boy, the Arrma Kraton 8S capable obviously. So basically a supersized Kraton, all new platform, and will be available in a couple of weeks. You can't buy one right now, although some people out there have gotten some pre-production versions, and you may have seen some running videos of that. Retails for $900. It's their biggest, baddest, most expensive RC car, and should be coming out soon. So anyways, a lot of people liked my video about the Traxxas Max I put out a couple of months ago. It's called Everything Wrong with the Traxxas Max. They asked me to do more videos of that type, so I figured I'd do one on the Arrma Kraton 8S. They had one that I could check out locally, so I got to look at one in detail today, up close, and kind of spend some intimate time with it and check out what's going on. So I just want to talk about all the things I see from a design standpoint. Now obviously I've not driven one, I don't know the durability or the speed or whatever, but just from looking at one up close, sort of with a more critical eye, notice some things I like and things I don't like. So first off, I just wanted to say that overall the design actually looks really, really good. I think Arrma in general does really, really nice designs. I've been happy with everything I've bought from Arrma so far. I'm not a fanboy of Arrma. I'm not a fanboy of Traxxas. I just buy whatever I think looks good, will perform well, and basically is good value for the dollar. So first of all, I want to talk about are the pros. All the things I really like about the Kraton 8S. First off, the easy access diffs I think are really nice. Some of the older Arrma vehicles can be a little bit of a pain to get to the diffs, and they kind of followed sort of the modern designs of stuff coming out nowadays, where you can basically pop off some covers on the front and rear diffs, a few screws, remove that, and pop out your diff for adjustment or repair or whatever. So that's really nice to see. Second thing is I really like the battery tray, and I know that seems like kind of a funny thing to mention, but honestly, people like Traxxas have not put out very good battery trays recently. This one has an adjustable battery trays. You can lengthen it, shorten it, whatever. It's got battery straps, so you can use different height batteries. So Arrma's always done a really good job with their battery trays, accommodating different sizes. Even like their Kraton 4S, you can run two 2S lipos, or you can run a single 4S lipo of different sizes. So really nice to see that on the Kraton 8S. Next up is the metal chassis braces. So Arrma has sort of been taking some flack in the past with their 6S lineup, where they use plastic chassis braces, kind of lended itself to a little bit too much flex on those braces. You would bend the chassis, that kind of thing. So nice to see that the 8S actually has all metal chassis braces. There's 3 chassis braces, one across tower to tower, and then 2 of your traditional tower to chassis braces. That's really nice to see. I also like the metal inserts in the wheels. So this thing uses 24mm hexes, obviously a bit bigger than your normal 6S size hexes, and they use metal inserts, which is nice, and it looks like they're actually fully compatible with other 24mm hexes. People like Traxxas, they like to use those funky channeled wheels that won't fit on other vehicles. So nice to see Arrma actually sticking with a standardized size, but then adding extra durability within the wheels. I also like that how everything is easy to work on. Everything's kind of out in the open. You have access to everything, the electronics, the motor adjustment, batteries, everything's out there, easy to service and get to, as opposed to something like an X-Max where everything's kind of hidden. You got to remove a lot of covers and screws and stuff to get at some of your diffs. So that's one of the benefits I think of the Arrma designs in general. They are generally quite easy to work on, so I like seeing that. Also like their body clip stay. So they use fairly large body clips, but the really nice thing is they kind of have these plastic covers that not only will protect it when you're sliding on your roof or sliding on the hood from damaging your body clips, but also add a little bit of force distribution throughout the body. So that single metal body clip is not going to try to shear right through the body, and kind of that force gets distributed. And the last thing I really like about the Arrma Kraton 8S is the electronics. So finally they upgraded to a better radio. They had been using the STX2 for a long time in all their vehicles. They went with the DX2E, which is not a much bigger upgrade on that radio, but the really nice thing about the DX2E is it uses DSMR receivers. So if you don't like that radio, you can use any other Spectrum radio. I particularly like the DX5C, and so you can basically bind and drive. Don't have to spend any extra money on a different receiver. And that receiver is actually quite nice. It's like an $80 receiver, has telemetry, ABC. Other electronics look really nice. The servo has like over 500 inches of torque. It's actually metal geared. Yes, metal geared, as opposed to some other brands with plastic geared servos in their $900 RC trucks. I'm not going to mention any names. You know who it is. And then finally, the ESC looks really nice. They got their new sort of smart system, 160 amp ESC. So overall, the electronics package is super nice. Quite nice to see that they actually spent extra money on putting in the good stuff. Now, the stuff I don't like about the Arrma Kraton 8S. Nothing like major, sort of a deal breaker to me, but there are some things that personally I would have chosen a little bit different design points, things I think they could have improved on, especially since this is an all new platform. First off, the snap rings on the center drive shafts. The fact that you actually need like a snap ring tool included in your kit, like a funky tool. And I've got snap ring pliers, so no big deal to me, but if it's an all-new design, you can do other things. You can put CVAs in the front. You can use just extra long dog bones so they don't fall out. There's different other designs out there that don't require snap rings. I mean, pretty much everyone in the 10 scale world at least has gone away from snap rings. Why? Because they're annoying and there are other things you can do instead of using those. So not a fan of that. Not a major thing, but snap rings are fairly annoying. Second up is not a big fan of the pillow ball suspension. I realize this is an 8 scale type thing. People think it adds durability. Personally, I am not a big fan of pillow balls. There are some things I don't like the nuts on the back tend to loosen over time, especially if you don't have like aluminum camber blocks where you can use like an O-ring or Loctite or something to kind of hold it in place. If you've checked out RC Driver's review of this vehicle, I mean, he did note that nut tends to back out, get really wobbly. So I'm not a big fan of the pillow balls in general. The other thing I don't like about pillow balls is that dirt tends to get in there and kind of jam up the pillow ball up against the camber block. It adds a lot of friction, adds extra wear on there. I'm a much bigger fan of something like a double H-arm or double A-arm type design. A-arms top and bottom are, I think, just as durable and a little bit better on the maintenance side and the reliability side. So not a big fan of that. I would have liked to see them do something else. Next thing I don't like is the sliding motor plate. Now, it's nice that they actually have adjustable motor positions. You can, stick in different pinion sizes and things like that. But personally, I actually really like the motor plates that have drilled out holes like they have on the 3S line, 4S line. It's nice because you can't really get it wrong. So if you're kind of new to RC cars, can't set the mesh correctly or have problems with that, it's pretty much bulletproof, idiot-proof. The other thing, the reason I like those fixed different holes is that there's no way for the mesh to undo itself, right? With the sliding motor mount, your screws can back out a little bit. If you slam into something hard, they can slide around a little bit, get your mesh out of whack. And then, so just from a reliability standpoint, just from a peace of mind standpoint, I really like kind of sort of the fixed position that they use on other designs. So like something like the X-Max is not, they don't drill different holes, but they have sort of a pin system to let you line things up. And I would have liked to see something different. Sliding is okay, but I think there are better designs out there. Next up is the center brace. And if you notice from this vehicle, the center brace is like 20 inches long. It's kind of a thin aluminum tube, and people have already been bending that thing. So they already have sort of a chassis brace right there in the middle of the truck to kind of hold up the body and prevent it from caving in when you land up on the roof. It would have been nice to see if they sort of mounted that to the center chassis brace right there, or maybe sort of surrounded it with rubber or bolted it down or something like that, because that is just too long of an aluminum tube that I think it's going to have some durability issues, and just kind of what you've seen online from other people that have driven this truck, they're already bending that thing, so I think that could have been improved design-wise. Next up is the shocks. Shocks look pretty good. What are they, like 20 millimeters or something? So like huge shocks. Would have preferred to see an aluminum shock cast. Not a major thing. I think composite will work okay, but you know, when you're spending $900 on an RC car, it would be nice to have aluminum shock caps like they do on the 6S line. Also would have been nice to have different adjustments for shock locations. Now I know Arrma is not big on giving you a whole lot of adjustments or tunability really. They just kind of assume you're just going to buy it, drive it, and forget about it. But personally, I like having a few adjustments. You know, even on my Traxxas Max, they just have a couple more holes so you can adjust those shocks. They have adjustable shock camber link locations on the rear hubs, so they did consider that, and so I'm not really sure why they didn't do that with the Arrma Kraton 8S. Maybe they're going to reuse those hubs for a different vehicle later, so they needed different positions, but personally I would have liked to see more adjustments for the shocks. Next up is the chassis. Aluminum chassis. I think it's 4 millimeters, maybe 4.5 millimeters. Thicker, not super beefy. It's stamped, so I'm not sure if the durability will be there. Obviously, something like a billet aluminum piece would have been nicer and pretty much indestructible. But a stamped chassis, you know, not going to be quite as durable as a billet aluminum. But I think it's okay. At least they have those different channels in there, add additional rigidity. We'll see if this will actually be a problem or not. But stamped chassis, yeah, it's okay. And the last thing is really the radio. $900 RC car, comes with the DX2E, which is not terrible. It has all the basic adjustments, you know, AVC, dual rate, power limiting mode, and then you can add the telemetry Bluetooth type stuff. But there is no endpoint adjustment. I was hoping they could come out with something a little bit better. Dual rate, the problem with that is you can never get even steering travel left and right. You always have to kind of compromise on one side, and so you're gonna not get as much steering throw on one side or the other as you know would have liked to have seen if you had a better radio. The other thing is it still has that hard plastic steering wheel. I mean, at this point, come on Arrma, Horizon, Spectrum, who you want to call it, just throw in a little bit of foam, put on a new wheel. It's gonna be super cheap and actually adds quite a bit of niceness to the radio if you actually have a little bit of foam. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it doesn't cost much either, so why not do that? So anyways, that's it. Those are my thoughts on the brand new Arrma Kraton 8S. Overall, I think it looks like a really nice truck. I haven't decided whether I'm going to pick one up or not. You know, I still got a couple of weeks to decide. It is quite expensive. You know, price-wise, it's not something that I think is a pro or a con. I think it's priced reasonably well, but not the smoking deal. I'm a little surprised actually that it wasn't slightly cheaper, maybe like $850 or something. Arrma tends to try to undercut Traxxas a little bit in the market when they go head-to-head, and obviously the X-Max is also $900. So anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, share, subscribe, hit the notifications button, share with your friends. Look for more videos soon, and thanks for watching.